You are listening and or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 37. We are in patch 6.0.3. I am your Warlock host, Belle. This week we're going to be talking about a few helpful things in-game from the Legendary Questline help, followers, garrisons, talking about the WoW anniversary ending. We have a lot of good topics today on the show. The funny story behind this is we did bring the elusive Mr. Elite Hotsforshots. He's also an admin for Pwnecast. He's also an admin for Druids of Wow. He has graciously decided to join us scrubs for this episode. I don't know how we managed to pull that off because
I heard it was community service.
He's now a member of Decipher. He is in Decipher, so now he's super the man. But he's lowered himself to be on the show today. We're glad about that. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
He's like, now that you insulted me.
You like embarrass him. And then
I even joined the Riders.
He did. That is the other news. And he didn't just put in a level 1. Like, he legit has, I think, 95 now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has level 95 in the guild now, so we're pretty excited that he's going to do his community service hours given to the poor in the guild for helping with raids. I'm cantankerous. I'm in a rare form tonight. I did also bring the Riders of Rohan with me, as always. I do have the mage who uses his blink to avoid speeding tickets, Frysa.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really funny. That'd be awesome. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys back. Every week, it's really awesome. It's just really fun part of my day. Awesome.
Well, we're glad to have you. Not grumpy because you did eat. I saw that. Very happy. Very happy. I did also bring the Death Knight who gets fired.
Say it. It must be good.
The Death Knight who gets fired from the shoe store for reaping all the souls, Spamburger.
Reaping all the souls for me. Oh, thank you. At least I'm not a shoe salesman. That's all I got to say about that.
I couldn't even say that without laughing. That was pretty tragic.
I can't. You know, what was it I used to do? I used to do Necrotic Strike all the time, and they took it away from me. And one of the first things I asked Lycan when Warlords dropped was, what am I supposed to do with all my death runes now? And he was like, ask me again at level 100. Okay, we're at level 100. What am I supposed to do with my death runes now? Nothing.
Put them in your sock drawer and save them.
So yeah, you roll your Death Knight and your Frost runes and Unholy and Blood runes will rotate into Death runes. It used to have a really important mechanic because you could Necrotic Strike stuff. Now they just turn purple because purple's cool, I guess. I don't know.
That's my favorite color, so it is pretty cool. Well, we're glad you made it. We know you almost had family aggro, so we're glad that you are here. She can't hear. She watches the show. Oh. We also have the Death Knight.
I get aggro again on Monday when she watches it.
We did also bring the Death Knight who likes to tank naked, like in.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And I joined why?
Why? It's that one. Was it that one mob right before you get to the butcher? That when he runs up to you, I have to get in that line just to make sure I get all my stuff taken away.
Just chilling in his rouge.
I use my little X-ray specs too because they're really cool. So then now I can actually see the entire raid naked. So I don't even have to worry about that. I just throw my little X-ray specs on.
They have a guild for that. It's called Raid Naked.
It is called Raid Naked. They do like to be naked, even outside of the raid. They just like naked.
Well, I'm naked. I'm naked for my shirt down. I got my shirt on for the sake of the show, but everything else, it's up to your imagination.
I'm an admin for them, and it's really weird because I have to post. I'm like this sexy, like I have to browse all the WoW porn and find good stuff to post, and it's really weird for me because I'm very prude. So I'm trying to step myself outside of the naked shell, and I'm doing pretty well, but.
Someone shows an ankle and you're like, no.
I know.
There's nothing out here.
Let's get right into it. So, WoW anniversary ends the 6th. Make sure that you guys have went to Molten Core. Make sure you've gotten your mount. You do not have to have Spam had said it earlier. I'm pretty sure he even posted on the page. You do not have to have you said silver,
do not
right?
need to have the silver proving grounds, which is required for heroics in order to do LFR raids.
So quit
get
queuing in
your
groups about how
615
you
item level and go get your mount.
Stop crying in groups.
What,
do it.
3 days? 3 days left.
I'll cry about this because what's upsetting me is I'm a collector. I'm a pet collector. I have an addiction. And there is a pet in there which is really funny because if you talk to any of the devs and you look at any of their blue tweets, they say, oh, it's only meant to be ran once, and that was it, just to re-experience what it was like to do a 40-man.
Right.
But yet the damn pet is still a low drop rate, and you have to keep going in over and over.
Have you been going in over and over trying to get this pet? No.
Yeah, I could buy it for 25,000 gold.
What does that go for?
25 grand on Argent Dawn. And I'm not spending $25,000 on a pet. I'm sorry.
Well, you would, but
I would.
Let's be real, you would.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
So make sure that you go in there. Also, for those of you that are PvPers, the Torren Mill versus South Shore, you guys get a title for completing that, which the title for Alliance
Torren Mill Terror.
Is the Torren Mill Terror, and the title for Horde is the South Shore Slayers. So get in there and get your stuff done before you can't do it anymore. The 6th is the last. It's done. After that, no more Molten Core. So get in there and get that stuff done. Stop crying about it in groups. I'm sick of hearing people talk about how they're not going to get geared in time. It's really not that difficult. So just go out there and get it done.
Is the drop rate on that helm 100% as well?
The first run is 100%.
Right?
Well, it might be every time.
Go
but I know
get yourself a helm, man.
It's a nice helmet. I mean, it's
not only does it have a pretty good transmog, but it's like 640 gear that's going to help you.
Yeah.
It's going to help you. We call the mount the Cadillac or the SUV.
It is.
Of all the mounts. It is
big
massive.
Enough, right? It is big enough.
So the first item that we're going to talk about, there wasn't any news this week, which is great because on the weeks when there's no news, it's not a big deal because we have tons of gameplay stuff that we can bring to you each week and that we can talk about. So what the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the Legendary Ring. The reason I'm bringing it up, a lot of you are going to be like, well, I've already been there, done that. There are a lot of people on Facebook in-game that are always asking questions about the Legendary Ring. How do I start it? What do I do? Where do I go? All those same questions. So we just want to break a few things down for you regarding the Legendary Ring. You can pick that quest up at level 98. You don't have to wait to be 100. You go to Zangalari.
Yeah.
You go to Zangalari and...
It's in the northeast part of Talador.
Yep. Mm-hmm. In Talador, go to Zangalari. You probably would have already picked up your flight path if you leveled the whole zone in Talador. In there, you're going to go speak with Khadgar. He's going to monologue for a really long time and talk about a bunch of random crap that not a lot of people are interested in. So don't walk out, like, on the parts when he's monologuing as you're turning in quests. Don't just walk out because it's not done. Get the quest started. There's a Pexus Crystal grinding that you're going to need to do. It's really easy if you just do the daily every day. You'll have it done in 4 days. You're going to have to pick up Core of Lives after you've gotten the 640 version of the ring, and you just do that by running dungeons and picking it up at the end. So if you, even when you get it to 680 after you've completed those steps, you can still continue further with it. There's still more stuff you could do. You have to collect 125 Abrogator Stones, which you could get those via missions. You could get those via raids. I don't do any dungeons, so I don't know if you can get them from dungeons.
No. Nope. It's just like
also.
It's just like the sigils of wisdom, and it's just like that. You can only get it from the raids, and you can only get it one time. Yeah.
The great news is the drop rate isn't as terrible, so I think I'm already at like 55.
It's 100% off of each boss, but there is a chance to get a cluster, which should drop between 5 and 7.
Plus that with your work orders and your missions, you shouldn't have a problem being able to collect those. So first thing you need to do to start your quest, you can start that sucker at 98. If you don't want to start it at 98, you don't have to. You can wait till you're 100. Head over to Talador, go to Zangari, go speak to Khadgar. You're going to have to take the little portal. There's a portal that they're putting up in the air. You take that. It's going to make you a little wispy, and you go and you talk to Khadgar and do your thing. It's not like it was with the Legendary Cloak. It's really, really easy. It just takes a lot of small steps. It's not difficult to do. If you have additional questions or you're just uncertain about certain things, go to go to Wowhead. They have a really good guide that literally walks you through step by step everything that you need to do to make that happen.
What I like about it is that it's all friendly. I mean, it's really not that hard to complete on multiple twins. But two, if you've already got, let's say, the tanking ring, you don't have to go through this whole mess to get the DPS ring.
You don't.
It's very easy. You just pay, it's like 4,000 or 5,000 gold?
Mm-hmm.
And not even.
I don't even think it's that.
I don't think it was 4,000.
I think it's in the 500. Yeah.
It's 500 for the 640. It's 1,000 for the 680, but I have to pay 1,500 because I have the 690 version.
Yeah.
And if you accidentally delete something, if something happens and you deleted, go buy it. It's right where the quest giver is. You can just go speak to the little goblin on the left underneath the tent and go buy another one. The
greatest thing is if you did listen to Khadgar instead of walking away while he was blah, blah, blah monologuing, he talks about how irreplaceable this ring is. But if you need another one, you can go to my quartermaster outside and get it for 1,500 gold.
I walked away while he was monologuing and was like, "What the hell? I got no ring."
Walk back, he's still talking.
Everybody in the guild was like, "Did you let him finish talking?" Well, no, he's monologuing. I don't like monologues, so I had to go back in there. So legendary quest, super duper easy. Bam, boom, get in there, get it done. It's way easy. Gearing. Listen, people, I have been watching Facebook. I have been hearing in trade chat or seeing in trade chat.
Fine.
Gearing is not complicated. It's not difficult. It's not rough. Yes, I understand you're rolling the dice when you're entering a dungeon. Yes, I know LFR doesn't give you everything. So here's what we're going to cover about gearing basics. You're level 100. What do? The first thing you should have already done is downloaded Handy Notes and downloaded the Draenor Secrets for Handy Notes. That should be number one thing that you should have done. Those of you out there that are anti-add-on and seem to think that people that use add-ons are scrubs, you don't have to have that add-on if that's your choice. Then you need to go to Wowhead and you need to go to their guide on where the rares populate. And you need to have Wowhead direct you. There are level 100 rares that usually take 2 or 3 people to take down. I wouldn't try to solo the level 100 rares. It'll tell you, if you have the Handy Notes add-on, it'll tell you exactly what they drop. It'll tell you if it's a caster sword, what the item level is. These things are great for helping you get your base item level so that you can feel comfortable to start entering into a normal dungeon. Enter into a normal dungeon until you are 615. Go get your silver in whatever, if you're healer, tank, damage, go get your silver and healing, or your silver in whatever version that is, and then start gearing out in dungeons. I know that it sucks. Remember, we said this, a couple weeks ago on the show, the final boss of every dungeon run is a guaranteed drop. So you have to go through a few other bosses, and you might not get something, but you might. You know that whole run is not going to be for naught because you're going to get something at the end of that run. So that is just the basics on gearing. I'm sure maybe these guys have some other kind of little tricks of the trade, but that's just your basics on gearing. It's really the easiest thing you will ever do is getting gear. Like, it's literally like, poof, I'm 100. Okay, I'm already 615. Okay, I'm already 630. Let's do normal raids. It's really easy.
623 the day I hit 100, yeah.
Yeah, and you can hit almost 610 just by doing the quest line, and the quest line's in the grant.
Oh, yeah.
Yet, you know what's really funny is I sit there, and I really wish I could... I should just ignore trade chat to begin with, but I look at trade chat when I'm in my garrison and see how many people are complaining about gear. You get them from your missions. You can get them by making them. And let me tell you, once you hit level 700 in any profession, it's a guaranteed 10 for your daily cooldown, plus your work orders. They're practically handing you this crap.
They really are.
And yet there are people going, oh, I can't get it. Then that's your fault. It is... I put a little comment on the Facebook page this week. I said, this is becoming such a very casual, friendly game. There are still spots in there for elites like...
You were being very positive when you said it on the page, though.
Right. But it has become a very, very casual, friendly game. For those who don't want to play and put the hours and hours into it to be an elite raider, can still raid. But, where you got Hots here, which Mr. Elitist, not like us filthy casuals, he can go in and do still his... Dude, Hots, do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like, it's whenever I come in and raid with y'all, I looked at some of the item levels, and it's this expansion's not about gear. It's about your skill to stay alive and following mechanics. And so the gear is just there. So if you, it is a buffer, really. It's like you at least put forth some effort to get into it. So, like my guild cleared normal, and we were working on the last boss, and our average item level was 640, maybe 640 something.
Really?
Yeah, we started with 630. We started with really low item levels, and it actually helped gear our raiders, the bosses that we were able to down. So it taught us to be, it's teaching us to be a group of people that are not wiping.
We're trying, man.
It's this is the life that we chose when we decided with raiders to move forward and to make ourselves raiders. You're building a raid team from the bottom up, and it's hard work, and it takes people really pushing forward to make that happen. And regarding the craftable gear, it might be because we're all a little bit spoiled because we're in the Riders of Rohan and we don't have to buy crafted gear because our guildies make us the crafted gear. Like I can make cloth. We have the guildies that are choosing to make us the gear for us to be able to have that, and instead of going and selling it in the auction house, or they'll make us gear and then go sell their own stuff. So we're kind of fortunate in that aspect that we do have a guild that does that. So ask your guild mates. If you guys are in a guild and you know that one of your guild mates has, if they make a certain type of items, ask them. At worst case scenario, you can get it at a discounted price if you choose to want to buy the gear. But really, Handy Notes is the greatest thing when it comes to those 100 elites or the 100 rares, because it tells you exactly what they're dropping. So you're not wasting your time trucking your ass all over Talador and Nagrand trying to kill these guys, and you don't even know if it's going to drop something that you need. Moreover, it also gives you your toys, your pets that you can find throughout the maps, and it also gives you where you can find more garrison resources. So utilize that. Take that to your advantage. Wowhead has a great gearing guide. I don't really know that it's very useful for a person-per-person basis. I think gear is something that it's not something you can teach people. I think people just have to learn that it's really not complicated. It's really easy. They're handing it out left and right. So calm down, relax. This is not MOP. You're not having to fight and struggle for every one extra item level. I promise you that it's not that serious. So if you guys need more gear advice, ask us on the page. Ask us to ask questions on a class-specific basis. We've all got several 100s that we've pulled through, and we've done this process on a lot of them. So don't be afraid to ask us. With that, I'm really, really, really excited for what we're talking about next, and that's followers. The reason that I wanted to talk about followers is because followers seem to be the second next important thing outside of your garrison. And I know that we've posted several videos of guys that have done, like, here's a fast 6 follower situation. I know that followers are a lot complicated to some people. There are a few things that can help you out to make you more efficient with your followers. We've already talked about the Garrison Mission Manager and Master Planner. Those are 2 add-ons if you are a person that uses add-ons. Those maximize your mission output. It tells you which ones you need to put in. You push a button. The followers that are going to bring back what you need with the percentage rate are going to go right into your little box. You hit it, and it's done. In addition to that, collecting followers is what's important. I see a lot of people saying, how do I get this? How do I get this? Blizzard did a good job of walking you through, getting you a base of like what? You have like 11 or 12, maybe 13 followers by the time you're 100.
15 if you finish out zones.
So if you were like me and you skipped some parts of some zones and you had to go back and get the followers, there are things to understand when it comes to your followers. Once a follower is level 100, you have to keep doing the experience missions. Here's why. The experience missions, if you have uncommon followers, it's going to move them from uncommon to rare, and it's going to move them from rare to epic. You have to keep doing those experience missions until you have maxed out all of your follower set. When you can't get any more experience, that's when you can stop doing those missions. So you want to make sure that you're just continuously doing those experience missions so that you can continue maximizing all your followers. With the add-on I told you guys about, the Master Planner, what that also does, it's a recent update. If you click on your followers that are not out doing stuff for you, any armament, any armory weapon upgrades and armor upgrades, it will have a little arrow for you to click on, and it'll pick the right armor upgrade and the right weapon upgrade that you need for that item level follower. On accident, a few times I equipped something that I shouldn't have because it only gave like 1 item level increase because it wasn't the right one for that follower, and I kind of lost out on like a 6 item level increase because I put it on the wrong one. So that add-on really decreases it. Followers.
I was going to say, with my followers, with my missions, I actually just got on my DK a pair of 655 pants.
Yes.
And because I have, I want to say 6 tunes that are over level 655. So they ran, yeah.
That's a lie. All of mine are 650. I don't have one follower under 650, and I get 615 missions. That's a lie.
But they ran high mall normal for me and came back after a 24-hour mission, and I got a garrison. You know, it was a high mall, or little box that I got. You open it up. I got a pair of pants. And what was really cool was that there's a third add-on if you're into followers. That is called Follower Location
Please
Info.
do not give my information away. That would be awesome.
What?
What?
You totally just gave away where I was going.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop on that. But there's a third add-on that Belle will talk about later. and it's all solid one too, especially if you don't know where they're at.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You can tell them.
I have something to say about that mission that Lycan was just talking about. That doesn't stay at 655 gear. As soon as you kill 14 bosses in normal, it moves up to heroic. And as soon as you kill 14 bosses in heroic, it moves up to mythic. And as soon as you kill 14 bosses in mythic, it gives you 1,000 gold and a piece of mythic gear.
That's a good point, that you do need to be actively rating in non-LFR. You need to be actively rating in normals and heroics in order to be able to increase your output when it comes to those missions. He's absolutely right about that. So if you're not rating and you're wondering why you're not getting higher item level for the high mall raids, that's the reason why.
It always gives you the step above what you're clearing. Blizzard wanted to give people access to gear that they normally don't have access to. I thought I was going to give everyone access to Mythic, which I'm kind of glad that they're not.
I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, because I don't, like, that's something I earn. That's not something, agreed. But at the same time, Mythic, or Blackrock Foundry is coming out in February, so all this 655 gear is about to go.
Let me finish High Mall before we start talking about Blackrock Foundry. Lycan is going to finish telling you about the awesome new add-on that I was excited to tell you guys about. Go ahead, Lycan.
But yes, if you want to find, like, if you don't know where your rest of your followers are, like, follower location info is a wonderful add-on. Belle and I were actually talking about this the other day. There are 53 listed in-game, depending on your faction, followers if you go to your default screen. I have the in, so every week I get a new follower. There are 244 hidden followers that are in the game. And you get those by going to the end, and once a week you can pick, it asks you it actually allows you to pick what the skills are. So when you go in, you say, okay, I need something that does this skill, and you go in, you pick it, and it gives you, there are 244 of those followers.
They only last for a week, though, correct?
No.
No,
every Tuesday you can go recruit a new one.
You can recruit a new one, and they stay.
I assumed if you got a new one, the other one went away. I don't have a Lunar Fault in, but okay.
What is Spamburger showing us?
That's the list of the Alliance followers, and on the following page, I have a list of all the Horde followers.
The follower location info add-on that you can get from curse.com, that's actually what that does. It eliminates you having to read that big, huge book over there.
She's trying to tell you that I could have gotten it for free and saved myself that much reading.
Spammy likes whipping that out because
I like reading.
He was prepared, and he likes to know he was prepared. But for those of us that are lazy, myself, that add-on that Lycan is talking about is amazing because it tells you right where to get the followers. You don't have to guess and look at other stuff. You just run right to it. If you don't want to use add-ons, Spam has a book. He would kindly take your requests via Facebook if you guys have questions.
Do it the old-fashioned way, yes. I would look in the book the old-fashioned way.
Before Joe's even existed.
Like, I just picked up a follower called Solaire of Vanderhall, and if you run up to it and type /praise, it says praise the sun and gives you a buff, but if you go up there and type /tired, it gives you a toy. One that can be put in your add-on box. I mean, so there's all types of different followers out there that if you're not sure, get this add-on, put it on there, it'll definitely walk you through every single one of them that are out there and how to get them in there.
They're
There's even a
everywhere, man.
legendary.
I stumble on them all the time. Yeah.
And the last thing on the followers, and then we can switch subjects. Understanding what the reroll option. When you get a mission to reroll the traits on a follower, I learned this one the hard way. What you want to do is you want to use that in case you have too many followers of the same trait. You want to make sure that you have a variety of different traits for these followers so that you can be more successful with your missions, because some missions take 2 or 3 different traits to be able to do. So you want to save those, put those in the bank until maybe you log in one day and you have 20 followers, and before you send them all out on their mission, take a look and find out what followers have what traits, find the one that's used the most, and possibly re-roll it to find something that maybe you don't have. You want to use that one with caution. I just started clicking shit one day when I had one of those, and it was terrible because I lost a really good trait that I've never been able to get back. It's actually the one with the diamond in the middle and the white on the outside. I've never been able to get that follower back, and I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've missed out on something because I totally re-rolled that trait like an idiot. So...
That's for really long missions.
Yeah, and I could really use that sometimes, but don't learn from my mistakes. Just make sure that click with caution. If you're not an add-on person, you don't have to be an add-on person to be efficient with your followers. Just look. Yeah, Aja's not an add-on person. Frysa's not. Oh, I thought he said Aja.
Frysa.
Neither one of them use add-ons really, so you can feel free to look at the traits, make sure you match up your missions, and just do it efficiently. And don't waste gold, or don't waste resources on missions that are not going to return anything. Yes, you can roll that dice at 45%, but I don't want to see you in a complaint group bitching because it did not succeed at 45%.
Oh, no.
80 or higher.
One of my buddies has to wait till next week because he sent his followers out on a 96% chance for his last few abrogator stones that he needed, and it failed.
Nice.
That sounds like Blizzard for you.
That sounds like I would rage.
That sounds like my dice rolls.
As far as the end goes, something that that same friend pointed out to me, he's rolling in garrison resources right now because he got he got the end and he got scavenger followers.
Yeah.
That increases the garrison resources by 200%, and you can stack it. So.
Yep. Yeah, and you want to do, whenever I do my missions each morning, I find the ones with the resources first, boom, get those knocked out so I know those are done, and then I just do it in order of priority of what I need. But really for the first couple weeks, once you're 100 and you're doing your followers, experience, you want to do all the garrison resource missions, and you want to do the experience missions so that you can get all of your guys. I do not have one rare follower. Mine are all epic, and it's only because I have been doing those experience missions every single day. So make sure that you're doing your trading post to come up with those garrison resources. Also, if you have the handy notes, you're going to have those garrison resources from farming the elites anyway, or the rares anyway. So.
One more thing on followers. Whenever you assign them to buildings that provide the work orders, if they're level 100, they give you double.
Yep.
They
do.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to have to take them back off and make them go level up.
They do. I learned that. I had Fiona in my herb garden, and she was like 92, and one day I was like, I wonder if I leveled her and put her back, what would happen, and it doubled. So.
So when they
sometimes.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Even sometimes I watch this show to learn stuff, so.
And the last thing, and then we're going to move on because we're a little bit over time. If you're over your followers, you're consistently activating and deactivating followers. Here's what I've started doing. Once I got all mine, or all epic followers, and I can't utilize the experience missions anymore, I started deactivating those ones and started activating ones that were not on that level. Maybe they weren't a 655 item level. Maybe they weren't even 100 yet. I just rotate them out. Once I get them top cream of the crop, rotate them out and just keep leveling the extra ones I have.
Because it costs money to reactivate your followers.
It does, but because you're getting gold back on your missions, it kind of pays for itself.
It pays for itself, yeah.
If you're doing it efficiently. But yeah, you're right. You do need to watch because it's like $250 to reactivate. You have to activate. Before you can deactivate a follower, you have to activate one to make sure you have one over. It will not allow you to deactivate a follower unless you have one over. So you're allowed to have 20 unless you have a level 3 barracks. You can have 25. let's assume you do not have a level 3 barracks. You have 20 followers. If you're trying to delete a follower at 20, it's not going to let you. You have to have 21. So you need to go down and activate one of the followers, then click on the one that you want to deactivate. So that's all I wanted to say. There's been a lot of questions about that, and we wanted it to be really everybody's input on where to do stuff, and we taught Frysa a few things. He's learning a lot more about the garrison stuff because he rebuked it in the very beginning. He's very angry. So let's get right into, I know Spamburger has prepared his Spamburger Meatballs and has stuff, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Nice. So last week we talked about my man Kargath P. Fist. This week, and I know I'm going to open up the can of worms as soon as I start talking. This week I want to talk about the Butcher. In LFR, it seems to be like super duper easy mode, because I haven't seen him not topple over like quick in LFR, and I refuse to believe that anybody who's going in there fresh without knowing these mechanics is going in there and beating him on the first shot. The Butcher has a mechanic where he always goes for the largest chunk of your raid group, and he's going to cleave them and deal damage over time effect to everybody in that area. So this is like a modification. I'm already kind of ranting on this. This is kind of like a modification on a mechanic from Pandaria, where everyone had to stack on top of the tank to share the hit. Well, now we have to share the hit carefully, because otherwise we're all going to die. Because he's going to hit us with this debuff, and if you get 5 stacks of the debuff, you die. So you can't have the whole raid stack and take this hit and split it amongst the whole raid, because if the whole raid gets the debuff, then 5 stacks and everybody dies.
Gushing Wounds is what it's called.
Gushing Wounds, yes. So Gushing Wounds is our worst nightmare. So, I mean, I kind of want to crack the egg and see what's inside of Samantha's brain, of Belle's brain, because she's kind of been one of the raid leaders as we've been doing this for weeks now. I guess best advice for a new group would be, since you already have a raid group, if you have 25 people in your raid group, you have 5 groups of 5. So I would start with splitting the group into those 5 groups, splitting your group into those 5 groups to begin with. That way everyone kind of has a base to stand on, so they know where to be. Plus, there's going to be a mechanic where, like I said, he's always going to go for your larger group. So even if you had half the raid and half the raid standing in 2 spots, there would still have to be 1 or 2 persons in the raid moving from spot to spot to kind of tempt him to hit that chunk, that stack of people. It's a difficult mechanic. The tanks are kind of busy because they're switching back and forth on another debuff. He has a heavy-handed debuff and a tenderizer debuff. The tenderizer debuff always hits. So the tanks are going to have to be worried about that tenderizer debuff, because if it keeps hitting them, it's going to keep stacking a debuff that gives a 50% chance to hit with the next tenderizer hit. And I imagine after a few stacks, it starts to hurt. So your tanks are busy swapping off tank debuffs, and your healers are going to be very busy because pretty much everyone's taking damage in this fight. So this is one of those, we were saying earlier, item level has a lot less to do with it in this expansion than learning mechanics. This is a perfect example. And if I'm not mistaken, this is one of those bosses that's like a bottleneck. You can't really choose to go around him. You got to kind of go through him.
No, you can.
Right. You can go around him.
You can skip him. He's easy, though. I mean, comparative to...
really, we had a really good strategy, and we actually got the strategy from Cody. What we did is we split up the melee on left and right, and then we had 1 ranged on each side, which would be basically when one was in, one was out, as far as that 1 ranged, and that helps soak up and absorb that the damage from the Gushing Wounds. We just swap it 2 stacks. Meanwhile, you have your ranged behind the boss with the heals. That seems to work really well, assuming all your members of your party are up. The only bad part about that is once one side, if people start dropping, the other side's going to be taking a lot more damage because it's uneven. So it really isn't as complicated as we thought. Once we really got the hang of because it was me and a hunter that would swap out.
Yes.
Once we got placement right and everything, that was not the hardest boss. It really wasn't. It's just a lot of making sure that everybody's in their right spot.
Right. So gushing wounds, lots of heals. Oh, another thing is he enrages at the very end. I think it's at like 30%. He enrages, and he just like keeps raging and getting ragier and ragier, if you will. So I would highly recommend that you save your heroisms and time warps and major super cooldowns for after he pops that rage, because if he's gonna rage, you may as well rage too. And I wouldn't want the fight to go on any much further after he pops that enrage timer at the end, because he gets pretty crazy.
You gotta start throwing Midol at him.
Gotta start throwing something at him, yeah.
Was that a sexist comment? Like,
I'm
the only girl, so I don't
Tanks
know.
is standing there offering the boss chocolate as he's starting to go off.
You don't have to get so mad. I just want your boots.
So the Butcher is a great fight, but you need to be listening to your raid leaders, and he gets very emotional at the end of the fight, so look out for that.
And just a correction, I am not the raid leaders. Lycan and Dominic are my raid leaders. However, I have the biggest mouth, so I convey what my tanks need conveyed and what my healers need conveyed, because people do not listen to my raid leaders because they are very nice, and then Lycan gets grumpy, and then Dominic gets quiet because Dom
gets quiet. The only thing you ever hear him say is,
like,
I need some heals.
So I'm not raging, I just have the biggest mouth, and I will command the entire team speak to shut up and listen to the raid leaders. I don't do anything but regurgitate what they say. So people think I'm really smart, and I really know what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is just regurgitating what my raid leads are telling me to say.
And I feel bad for those who raid with me, because whenever, like last night, things weren't going quite the way I wanted them to go. So I get a little pushy at the end.
Who's
and
like, Lycan?
Yeah, like I guess there were whispers going around the raid to everybody going, what's wrong with Lycan? Why is
that what was going on?
Yeah, that's what was happening.
And I'm like, I wasn't. It's just that was raid. When the raid's over, yeah, we could be buddies again, but during the raid, no.
You should know that when
you walk away.
You should know that when you whisper me, I'm telling the person that you're whispering me about, because that's how I roll. I'm an in your face. I believe in 100%. This is how we roll. I just asked him if he was okay and if he needed to talk, because he was really grumpy. Wow, Spam, that was a great. It's
such a complicated fight. I mean, I highly recommend watch a video on this fight so that you can explain it to someone else, because I honestly struggled with trying to.
Interesting fact about the Butcher: he was actually the last boss killed for the world race in Mythic. People went 6 out of 7, skipped the Butcher, then went back and killed him.
Wow.
Because he gains 56 million health, and you lose a minute on the rage timer, and you have ads to deal with.
Oh, nice.
Ads?
That will, if they touch you, they deal 136k damage.
Riders ain't Mythic, so I'm happy. I'm hoping at some point. But
I get to see it soon.
I leave that to the big boys.
Come back and give me a report card on Mythic Butcher.
For Spamburger's Meatballs, if you have something specifically that you would like him to give you more information on, I'm pretty sure he'll probably be working on whatever boss we actually happen to down this week. If you have something,
whichever one we down is the one I'm doing next.
If you have something specifically that you would like him to give you Spam's take on it, because Spam does have a slightly old school take, and I know that reaches a lot of different players, not so much the new school, but there's a handful of us. When I say handful, 90% of World of Warcraft that's old school. So I know that he helps break that down a little bit differently.
I represent the old farts in that corner of the room. Yeah.
So if there's something specific you need his help on, make sure that you message him on our Facebook or get in contact with one of us to get you in contact with him so that he can make that happen for you. So I was told, this is a breaking news, meaning I was just told that Frysa does, in fact, he was struggling a little bit with the PvP aspect. There's kind of so much to talk about that it's difficult for him to narrow down each week what it is he wants to kind of focus on. So we do have Frysa's Pwned in PvP segment.
Oh, well, there wasn't much PvP news that has happened. You know, there is some things that you are seeing less of certain classes than it was when Arena first started. I mean, at first you saw nothing but blood DKs everywhere, and you saw nothing but protection warriors, and you saw nothing. That's all you saw. Now, little by little, over the weeks and the months to come, they slowly start dissipating away, and you don't see not much anymore of them. The ones we are seeing for tank specs now is still Brewmasters, and that's about all I'm really seeing at this point that are actually putting up a fight. The rest of the tanks, they're not really putting up too much of a big deal with damage-wise. Their survivability when they go in there with healers is getting super annoying. But all you gotta do is wait them out, burst them down at the right time, and you'll take them out, because you can almost let the tanks just hit you for a while, because they're not really doing a lot of damage, unless you're a Brewmaster.
Unless it's a Death Knight,
run for your life. But even them doesn't have a lot of damage. But one thing I will say is that I've noticed about doing arenas, after your 10-minute duels that you have, whether you win or lose those 10-minute duels, you have to stand up and you have to walk away. Even if you win them, it is so weird, you know, because the pressure you put on yourself to be better, to be great, you know, what you could have did differently, you know, what your teammate could have did differently. And it's funny because sometimes you get so traumatized about these arena matches. You know, you'll win 5, 6, 10 in a row, and then you'll lose that one to that one team that just obliterated you, murdered you, took all your clothes, and left you there in shame. And you go to eat at Village Inn and Denny's, and you sit there and you think about what happened and what went wrong, and you can't let it go, because you're like, man, I want to fight those guys again, man. I want to get them again. You know, I want to go in there this time. I want to play it differently. I'm gonna poly the other guy instead of polying this guy, and I'm gonna CC, and I'm gonna heal this, and I'm gonna run from that. You know, you want to play everything differently, but you're not always gonna get that chance. So
I'm not gonna get bored and not pay attention to the feral that's hiding in the corner, and when he starts DPSing, not heal.
That's a whole.
Damn you, feral hiding in the corner! Damn you!
That happened to us last night. I got bored because the feral wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I just want to go on the record and say I hate blood DKs in arenas. If you're a blood DK, get the fuck out of the arena. That's all I have to say, and I'm not going to comment anymore. Seriously, blood deathknights do not belong in the arena. You don't belong in there. Go Frost, go Unholy. You do not belong in arenas. That's it.
I'm
no
a blood
tanks
DK,
belong in arena.
Yeah, I won't even go in there on my tank. I go on a hunter.
Yeah.
Right.
You're a
No
decent
tanks
person.
belong in arena. This is the first expansion so far, in my personal experience, that tanks have been doing damage in a expansion, and they are slowly fixing that. I call it broken, because technically you should not be a survival spec and do a lot of damage.
Agreed.
It shouldn't be that way. And in the beginning of WoD, it was that way. Every tank was doing more damage than any other DPS, and to me that is broken and it is unbalanced. Because
healers don't do a lot of damage.
I will
Healers
confirm-
can't even survive unless they have a buddy.
I will confirm that it is still broken. What is it? 6 weeks in, because my wife barely hit 100, and we went into molten core because she begged me and pleaded me. And I was looking at the damage meter for the first half of the raid, and I'm not kidding. It was two Death Knights on the top, and then like 7 hunters in a row.
Yep.
You know, so if the tanking Death Knights are beating out your top DPS hunters in a raid situation, you know, consistently like that, like in a row, so something's definitely wrong with the system.
I would even
I'm
like
still
to see.
DPS.
I would
Still
even like to
beating
see
DPS,
non-healers. I would like to see a moment in time when it was
Right.
just damage in an arena, and I would like to see what happens when you take on other players when you don't have the cushion of a heal, when it's really
Right.
just 3 DPS against 3 DPS of equal or lesser value, but it all comes down to one thing, and that's player skill. It doesn't come down to whose class is more OP this week, whose class Blizz favors. It comes down to one thing,
Well-
not gear, not anything, but it comes down to skill.
And that's how it kind of is now for I'm going to say about more than 0.5% of it. The arena it's coming down to skills, because you'll find a ret paladin and you'll take him down in 3 seconds, 4 seconds where he can't even bubble, and then you'll have one that doesn't want to die for 10 minutes, and you are giving him all you got, and he doesn't even have a healer, and he just doesn't want to die.
Right.
And then you have Unholy, which I wish I would have saved the name because I wanted to call the guy out on his skill. Guy's Unholy DK. You don't really see him a lot in arena right now. At the moment, you're not seeing him that much, but you're seeing all frost in arena. Well, this guy's Unholy, and I figured I'm gonna take him down. He stands no chance. He has no healer. He's mine. He's all mine. I hit about 4 million damage in under 2 minutes on that Unholy DK. And he took all 4 million damage of it.
Just took it, right?
And in the end, his friend failed him. So, so what I will say though is that doesn't matter your class necessarily. If you want to survive and you know how to survive, and you watch YouTube videos and you watch Twitch streams and you do your homework and you practice on dummies and you practice with your friends, you go against hunters. Hunters are great people to duel against. If you can survive a hunter burst, you're in.
Gnarly in arenas.
It's really going to increase your skill. So. If you're noticing you're dying really quickly, there's a lot to improve. There has to be, because I know for a fact, because I see it in front of my eyes. Arena from arena, you'll play two people who are identical specs, and one went down in 5 seconds, and the other one took 10 minutes to get down. So obviously there's a big issue there. Well, that's my advice. Just watch YouTube, do your research.
The other night. Me, you, and Darkman in arenas the other night. And the hardest ones we had were it was those skill levels that people that actually knew how to play. I mean, I felt bad for the one guy. We had the pally go in there. We were burning him down, and he bubbled the wrong person. He bubbled his friend instead of himself. But
that was great.
It was great.
That was funny.
It is nice to take 3 DPS in there. We went in as a pally, survival hunter, red pally, survival hunter, and frost mage. And you're right, the skill level. When you got a team that you could fight, remember we were doing that one, and it was me and this feral druid at the end. And that battle went on for almost 5 minutes because we were both, ducking and running. We were both healing ourselves up. Yep. It can be fun. You know?
And it gets you going. It really gets it brings out all your true skill that you have mastered. And that's really what I find great about PvP is you're going to say, hey, your character that you play every day, I'm going to wreck it. And they're going to be like, what? I'm going to destroy you. And I'm going to pull out everything I know to beat you. And he's saying the same exact thing. So what he does every day on that character, that is your due. You know what I mean? That is what you play every day. And I am going to strip it of its clothes and leave you on the street. And that was what I want to do. And there's no rules. It is a fight to the death. And I'm going to put your skills to the test in 30 seconds.
Why are you always trying to take people's clothes off? I don't understand.
No, I just say that's what it feels like sometimes. It's what it feels like because I'll go 20 games in a row without losing, and then I'll fight another frost mage, and he just obliterates me, and I'm like what? Like, how can I get that good? You know what I mean? And that's what it feels like, because that's what I do every day is I try to master my tune. I try to master everything about him. And then someone comes in and just takes me to the bottom again and tells me, hey, I'm better than you. Get better.
What's funny is that the other day, Frysa and I were
time, guys.
Frysa and I were dueling, and that's all he said was, I don't know how to get as good as you. So it can't happen.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started.
I wanted to end Frysa's segment with a funny from Admin Ella from our admin chat, and I am going to say this, and I don't care if I get in trouble because nobody can yell at me anymore. So she actually had a really funny Death Knight joke. Some of you might be offended with this, and I apologize in advance, but I really don't apologize. She had chatted, did you know my girlfriend is a Death Knight? And I guess that's the whole punchline is, did you know my girlfriend is the Death Knight? 1 week out of the month, she goes into Blood Presence.
That's pretty funny.
I thought it was funny. I'm a girl, so it's funny to me.
I'm offended.
It's not like you guys don't know what happened You guys aren't shocked when 1 month out or 1 week out of the month I'm yelling at my husband to please go get me chocolate and can we please watch a chick flick? I mean, really.
You know what happens when she goes
happens.
into blood presence?
That is what happens.
What happens when she goes into blood presence? She gets more aggro.
We might have crossed the line, but that was awesome.
I'm gonna cover my cat's ears.
The views and opinions of the host of the podcast do not reflect what we actually believe in.
It's funny to me because God help the men in my house that time. But moving on, we do have a great segment by Lycan, who we talked about last week. He's going to start doing the lore on all of the tunes. So we do have Lycan's Lure You In with Lore section. He's actually doing it on his Death Knight.
Yes. And one of the things, too, especially if you're an RPer, if you get into RP, you have to have a backstory. And I've actually been doing a lot of research with this. I've been going on to, there's a couple of YouTube channels that explain how to RP. I personally cannot understand the RP part of the aspect of the game.
Rude, because you are in Moonguard at least once a week.
Happened once, I was drunk.
Just saying. Big Daddy Pone, isn't that your...
Pone Daddy.
Pone Daddy. Moonguard once a week, ladies. He's in Moonguard once a week.
Absolutely. Look me up. Anyway, so there's Lycan. Lycan was just like the rest of the residents of Doneas. He's a very small, family-oriented man, married, 2 children, and was really just going to go into his father's business. His father was an engineer and was just going to go ahead and get into tinkering businesses and be fine with it until the conversion happened. When the conversion happened, he actually went back to his house. He was in the town square when it happened. He ran back to his house to save his family and had found out that the feral dogs were already there and had mutilated all 3, his wife and his 2 children. So he left. Couldn't take it anymore, wanted to get the hell out of there, and he started heading north. As he headed north, he went to Anderhall. Figured what he would do was just be a loner, then do odd jobs as tinkering here and there. And when he did, he was in Anderhall, and they were paying him with loaves of bread or whatever he can get to eat. Unknowns to him, the plague had already hit Anderhall as well. And there's Lycan with now dealing with the whole lycanthropy issue that he has, where he changes between the wolf and the human, and also dealing with now being a servant under the Lich King. As he got rezzed up and he goes through, as he is doing battles, you could see that he is not only emotionally but just physically torn with what's not only going on with him, but the remembrance of his children. For every person he slaughters, he runs away from the monsters to forget about them, only to turn into a monster himself. And as he's going through under the direction of Arthas and the Lich King, and in that army, and just slaughtering men, women, children, infants lying on their bed as he goes through these cities. He still has a part of him inside of him that knows, and that is so grounded, and it's like he's locked into a prison that he can't do anything about. After being liberated from the Lich King and being able to regain most of that function that he was able to that he had before, he aligned himself with the Alliance. He went to King Varian Wren, and he swore an oath to not allow this to happen to anyone else. Not only does he think himself a monster because of the wolf side of him, but he thinks himself as a monster because of the Death Knight side of him as well. He does not like being who he is. He's very torn deep down inside, knowing that he is a good person, but the atrocities that he's committed throughout the past will always haunt him. And it's that drive of seeing his wife and his children laying there on the floor of their house that just will push him to defeat anybody and anything that stands in his way that will put anybody else down. So, that is the story of Lycan.
I didn't know you were so deep.
I am.
That is deep.
So it's neat.
Very sad, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give you a hug. I know it's not real, but I kind of want to give. That's really wow.
What's really neat about it is that a lot of times I've looked at this character and okay, I'll make a Death Knight. And I made an undead Death Knight first, and then I got into the Alliance and I found the Worgen, and absolutely love the story behind it. And it actually, a lot of it, except for the death of the whole family, thank God they're safe behind me here somewhere. But it's just like you said, you want to. A lot of yourself gets poured into your character, especially when making a backstory.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That was an awesome. You guys were really on point with your segments. I also do have a Bell's Bite segment, but I'm actually going to nix it this week because we are over time, and I'll do it next week. It's nothing that's super important. We gave a lot of good information the first half of the show.
25 minutes on Garrison.
Yeah, so we're really good. I can save my segment for next week. It's not a huge deal. It's nothing that's super important. I do want to make sure that we talk to our guest, even though he's kind of not really a official guest anymore. He's just one of us.
Stuff to share.
We need to make sure that we shout out and talk to him about a few things. So everybody knows that he's with Druids of Wow, in addition to being with Pwnecast as one of our admins. And we like to bring our admins on the show because we like to keep them involved because this is what they do for us every day. They're the reason that we have the people that go to the page. They post the things that our listeners and our page followers want to be able to see, and they work really, really hard. I'm not easy to work for. So they really do take it in stride, and they really we like to bring them on so that you guys get to see the real hard work behind what we do here. So Hots, let's talk about we were with you during the struggle of you finding an elite guild. And when I say elite this time, I don't mean it as an asshat term. I mean like the hardcore people that are like, if you wipe, you're dead. Like seriously, those. Tell us a little bit about what that's like. I know it's Decipher, right? Is the guild?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what that's like.
It's actually a lot of fun in my perspective.
Tons.
it really is because it's super serious. Everyone's competitive. While we were doing our trial for the first week after raids came out, because we had to put together a whole new crew because we didn't really get started until Mythic dropped, and they were 14 out of 14 Mythic in a month. But there was still people who were, getting carried, and they could feel that, so they wanted to do a whole new trial. But you could tell, like the first 2 weeks before raids were out, we had 3 different groups doing the challenge modes every single day to get the 640 piece, because that's better than anything you could get at the time, other than buying 665 gear. But not all of us had. I think it was selling for 200K a piece on our server.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So a buddy of mine got lucky on Proudmoore, and he bought 3 pieces for less than 2,000 gold. Yeah, right. But
not who you know. It's.
Yeah, right.
No.
But every week we go in there and we're expecting the best out of everyone. Like me and our ranged officer, we sit back and we talk plenty. Me and the healers, because I was healing for him for a little while. We would sit back and constantly talk about strategies of what we can do better, how we could enjoy, like how we could actually get it, because that's where our enjoyment for WoW comes from, is downing things while it's still hard before all the nerfs come in and before we outgear it. Mm-hmm. Our warlock in our guild, he's multiple times pulled 95% of the damage, or ranked within 95 percentile of all the warlocks.
He's the reason my damages went up by like 5k for my DPS. That warlock Hots is talking about is the reason that I was able to fix my damage issues, which was not really a damage issue. It was my own being stuck in MOP and not getting out of the MOP box. Really, that warlock that he's talking about in Decipher. What's the warlock's name?
Blob. Blob, or if you want to go with the German pronunciation for the bees, Waz.
Okay, so what I did is I stalked that warlock, and I followed what he did with his talents and his glyphs, and I seen what his gear was enchanted with, and I totally followed and realized what my mistake was. I was too focused on crit, wasn't focused enough on balancing to make sure that I had enough mastery in there. But yeah, that warlock is amazing.
Weird as I've actually been struggling a lot with Boomkin, and he sat me down and helped me a lot with it, because there's apparently no one thinks the same thing for Boomkin across the board. Like, I haven't seen one person say the same thing as the next person, and this is going from the top down.
So what have you guys cleared so far?
Right now we've cleared normal, or we cleared normal the second day we were in it. We cleared heroic the next week, and then we're working on mythic right now. We're 1 out of 7 mythic, and we're working on twins.
Nice.
We didn't get as many attempts as we wanted to because of the holidays, and we had to bring in some of our replacement raiders, which we haven't really got to gear yet because we are not at the state where we can carry people at the rate that we want to.
Do you guys have fun? Like, is there laughter? And the only reason I'm asking is because me and my husband were talking about this earlier, and he's like, I really wonder how much fun they have. And I guess if that's fun for people, then I guess that's fun. That kind of stuff isn't really fun for me. It's actually a real drain on my fun because that's just not my person. I'm not let's kill everything. So you there's fun. You guys aren't
we crack jokes constantly.
Stepford raiders, and there's no talking in between anything, and you guys are just total focus. So there, you guys do have.
We're not gonna be like
You did say replacement raiders. Is that little second string? I need to call them out. Your Decipher members might get mad at me, but do you have a second string where that's like the benchwarmers?
They know that's what they are. At first we
He said they know they're benchwarmers.
Well, that's the point. If what I was writing in the post is at our level, it's competitive. If you're not being competitive, then we don't want you here. We're here to down bosses. It's like Lycan was saying, we all go into Lycan mode whenever we don't care. Our friendships, we could be the coolest people ever. One of my best friends in the guild, me and him will go back and forth at it while we're in raid, talking about what should be done, why our DPS is so low, how we can improve it. And then afterwards, don't talk about it again. If we do talk about it, we're a little bit more civil because we don't have a time limit.
Riders is a little easier. I don't like that Joseph Stalinish type, do it or get out type. I like to give them chances. However,
shoot them on the way out.
However, I do believe in after a certain amount of chances where you've said you need to make sure you're geared, you need to make sure you fix your shit with why your DPS sucks, you need to do this and you need to do that. After being told so many times and it not happening, I do believe you need to go the fuck on because I don't have time for that. When my own DPS lead says, hey, you, the guild master, you need to fix your DPS because we have a problem. And they're like, wait, me? I'm the guild master. And I fixed it because you need to be responsible for your own tune. You need to be responsible for yourself. If you don't want to be responsible for yourself, don't do it. Quit trying to tag along for free gear, mofos. You don't have to be an elitist or have to be a super tryhard to enjoy what you're doing and to down bosses. You might not do it as fast and efficiently as Decipher. They're really, really good. We are not on that level. We are still on the third boss in normals, but that's because we're building a raid team from the ground up. Half of my raid team has never even raided before, so...
Right, and coming from a hardcore progressive team, I have to agree with Cody. It is fun. But yeah, there was one time I mistaunted and wiped the raid, and we were down to the boss was down 10%. I can't remember what boss it was. And yeah, the whispers I got from the female tank that was with me, I've never been so humiliated in my entire life.
Aww.
But, but as soon as the raid was over, she dropped me and her dropped down in the separate room, and we discussed it like human beings.
Right.
I said, look, what you did was wrong. And if you keep doing it that way, you're not going to be on the raid team.
There wasn't no anger after.
Oh, no.
Or rage quitting in the middle of a run, right?
No.
There wasn't any rage quitting in the middle of a run? That doesn't happen, right?
Rage quits are an automatic G quit.
Rage quits equal you don't raid in my guild. So for those of you that are watching, and I know my guildies watch this, if you rage quit in the middle of a raid, you don't raid with my guild. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway.
Another thing I want to say about the replacement raiders is I just kind of caught where it comes from. Heroic and normal, yes, you can have anywhere between 10 to 30 people, but mythic, you have to you're stuck at 20.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we have 3 or 4 extra people.
You can't do a 10-man mythic with in Heimel? Obviously, I'm not that advanced, so I don't even know.
It's straight. Every mythic from here out until they change it again will be 20 men. But so we do have people that want to raid, and I'm not calling them bad.
No, but they're not the tryhards that you guys. They're not as interested in raiding. They're down for when they can get in, but they're not serious hardcore. Let's raid 5 nights a week type.
Well,
that part.
It's like I was explaining a few days ago I think it was raid last night. We had a mage in WAD or MOP. she was top of the charts, and no one could touch her because she was a fire mage. But the only reason she was living so long is because she had seen the fights hundreds and hundreds of times. Right. She just doesn't catch on as quick.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's where
I don't catch on as quick either. It takes a lot of drilling into my head to get mechanics. So you're still on Druids of WoW. You're now on is Decipher actively recruiting members?
Yes and no. We actively recruit people.
No.
No, we're on Frostbane.
Frostbane.
Yep, it's a PvP server.
Do you need to put in an application to become a member?
Yes.
Okay. So where do they do that?
Deciphergaming.com.
So go to Decipher Gaming if you're interested, and they're on a definitely a whole nother level. I plug other guilds, even guilds that are not mine, because you always should, and they are not on the level that we are because that's not the level we choose to be on. But for those of you that are into that, and I know that there's a lot, go to, you said Decipher Gaming? Mm-hmm. Deciphergaming.com, put in an application, see if you can become part of what they're doing over there. Cody, Hots. Thank you for being on the show, and make sure you go over to Druids of WoW and you like the page. It is all about Druids all the time. You can also find Cody at Homecast. Hots also does have a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Hots.
For shots, yeah.
Hotsforshots. Go like them, subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff.
I'm having a run on Wi-Fi right now.
Nice. I like Wi-Fi. No.
Yeah, Wi-Fi real bad.
So make sure you guys go check out all of Hotsforshots stuff. He does have his own page, also Hotsforshots. If you're looking for his information, just shoot us an inbox at facebook.com/Punkcast, and he's an admin, so he'll see it. Thank you guys for joining me this week. I'm really glad that everybody was here. We had a really great episode. Thank you guys for joining us every week. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. If you're watching us on YouTube, give the video a like. Make sure that you subscribe. Pwnecast.net is going to be where you can find all of the latest news. We are also actively recruiting more writers for our staff writers for blogs and news articles. So if it's something you're interested, just email bell@pwnecast.net. Also, before we go, I want to give a shout-out. We had about 10 new members this week in the Riders of Rohan on Argent Dawn. That came from Pwnecast listeners. So to all of you that came along for the ride, we thank you, and we are excited to add you to our, I don't want to say collection because that sounds creepy, but we're excited to add you to the Riders family. Thank you guys for watching. We are going to get out of here. Sorry about it being a few minutes over time, but it was a great episode. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Why is Stan
driving away?
That's weird. I'm driving the bus out of here.
Someone's gonna drive this short bus.
No.